Hey everyone out there, and welcome to the next session of Mental Wellness Check-in with Chrisa and I. And it's wonderful to be here again.
I think it's show number 3 for us.
Is it?
So we are so grateful that you're tuning in or watching after the show. We're getting a lot of views, so definitely tell your friends. It's really fun and exciting for us. And today we have a really great show, and it's a special day.
It is. Today is Giving Tuesday, and it's a different kind of Giving Tuesday. Today is Giving Tuesday now because there's so many wonderful organizations and nonprofits that are really struggling. I know that Matt and I, our goal in when all of this started was that we would not lay off our staff, which is a very small staff, and also be able to pay our specialists who are living, just paycheck to paycheck, and some of them without a paycheck at all. So everything that we do today and all your wonderful givings on Giving Tuesday now are going to help benefit keeping our online content going. And we really want to have online content for our community, and we really appreciate everything you can do for us today.
As well as we underwrite the costs for mental health services. We work on sliding scale and good faith that if somebody can't afford something, we want to provide them. We really don't want to turn people away. So your donation will also help to continue to fund our mental health program here.
Absolutely. I've had a lot of parents who have really hesitated calling in because, right now, every little bit is going towards just keeping house and home together. And a lot of people aren't working. But we know right now your stress levels are astronomical. And if there is no other time than now to get help, and we're not turning anyone away, and please reach out to us. Chrisa at asnerfamilycenter.org if you need some support with telehealth services.
Yes, thanks. So onward for today's topic.
Yes, not just anxiety, and we talked a little bit about this on Matt and I's show, but there's something that we read about called the allostatic load, which is the mind and body being affected by chronic stress. That's just what we're dealing with on a daily basis right now.
So right now we're actually in a chronic state of trauma. There's an underlying trauma that you might not actually be aware of. We don't know who to trust. There's mixed messages. We can't see the virus, but we can do our best to help protect ourselves from the unseen threat. So being in a chronic state of stress and anxiety does a lot wear and tear on the body. So today we brought in a specialist. He's from the medical profession, and his name is Gary. He is a friend of the center. Do
you want to try his last name?
Oh my goodness. I don't even dare, Gary. I'm sorry. I'll probably butcher it, but I'm going to, you're just a fantastic artist. You've been such a great friend of the center.
And he's been in the trenches. He's one of our essential heroes, and being in the trenches from day one.
In the medical profession. So we're bringing him on today to describe what really actually happens to the body biologically, what kind of what happens when you're in a chronic state of stress.
Yeah.
Gary, are you there?
Yeah. How is it going?
Thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
On his one day off.
On your day
he's
off.
Working 6 days a week, from morning to night. And thank you so much for being here with us, Gary, and really just being our expert on all things medical and all things Corona.
Right now.
I hope you're having an ice cold Corona and just relaxing right now.
Oh yeah, happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yep.
Cinco de Mayo, yes. I'm making Taco Tuesday, of course.
Oh, awesome.
Nice. So I think our audience would like to know, I would like to know too, can you give us a little bit of input on what really happens to the body when you're in a chronic state of stress and anxiety?
I guess it depends on what you're talking about. If you're thinking about organs, you're talking about end organ failure. If you're doing that for a long period of time, just from an endocrine level, the neurotransmitters, your norepi, your serotonin release, all of that eventually breaks down organs in the body. So you're seeing damage and organ damage.
Mm-hmm. So they've often talked about cortisol. What's happening with the cortisol? Is that something that gets secreted when you're in fight or flight and in anxiety?
Correct. With the norepinephrine, you're seeing that. So if you're in that state all the time, you're overproducing, which is causing stress on those cells at that cellular level.
Yeah. And so basically, I know for me that if I get into a little bit of anxiety, or you talk about having panic, sometimes that adrenaline, that rush lasts a long time and it's really hard to get out of it. And it takes, a good 10 minutes or so. So if you're in a chronic state, are you constantly in that fight or flight? Is that what's happening to the body and the mind?
Well, I don't think it's so much that it's in that phase, but you have to remember what it's doing at the time. So even if you're talking a 15, 20-minute panic attack or that stress, or days of that, you're talking difference. So in that short term, you're causing the blood pressure to go up, to become tachycardic. You're looking at all the things that it puts on the stress on the heart, on the liver, on the kidneys. Those things, if you're doing that every single day, you're going to cause that damage. Long term, if you're thinking in that fight stage or flight stage, it's still going to shut down a little bit. The dopamine and the norepi are not going to be released over time because you're not going to have enough of that store left.
Okay.
Well, I know one of the things we were talking about last week, Gary, is this feeling of exhaustion. Matt was talking about how he feels tired all the time. And I know just from my history with having panic attacks that when you have that feeling of being flooded with adrenaline, and even if it's a short panic attack, you're physically exhausted afterward, you're mentally exhausted, but the feeling of really feeling unplugged is there. And now, I talk to a lot of people, and, myself included, we're having these kind of like lulls, but then we're having so many more peaks of anxiety. And I know that's causing this chronic kind of exhaustion in so many of our community that we're talked to.
Right. It's the same thing you're seeing in chronic fatigue syndrome. So you're getting those bursts of that norepi, of the GABA, and it's being released. And so you're having this big upswing where you feel like, oh, I can do anything. I'm really busy. I'm going. But then it's that letdown when all those stores are depleted, cellular level. When you were talking about the organ damage and I was talking about the organ damage, you're looking at that over a long period of time where those stores are depleted. There's nothing left, and it takes days to weeks to rebuild that up if you've burnt those out in those short bursts.
And it sounds like it's similar to depression. When you're in a constant state of depression or anxiety, you're depleting the serotonin levels as well. You're chewing that up so fast. You're going through it early in the morning. So by the end of the day, you're just completely exhausted, mildly depressed or intensely depressed. And then you need another boost of it. And there are things medically that you can do, obviously, for depression. But we're also going to talk about today what tools and techniques you can use to help yourself out. And also, we have a special guest later on in the show that's going to talk about other sort of non-medical, non-pharmaceutical remedies to really help yourself out, so that we're not, so that we have other things available to us.
Also, things that can be a long-term option, and things that you could also give to your special needs child. I think that anytime that you have something where you can pick the natural route before pharmacological,
or homeopathic,
it's always long-term going to be the best choice, especially if you're going to be introducing it to children and teens.
Right. Well, and you and I have talked about that, that you look at these medicines that are out there, and a lot of them that we use do come with long-term side effects. They can come with some short-term side effects. You can talk about, more depression than you started with when you put them on an SSRI. So you worry a little bit about that, especially in the special needs population. We've seen some of that where it actually can make things worse, and sometimes it is better to go holistic.
Right.
Wonderful.
And then also, coming from the mental health profession, there are, we also talk about cognitive behavioral sort of techniques that retraining your brain to think and to change your behavior, which will, help alleviate some of this anxiety and stress. Like, some of our techniques that we can utilize to shift that mentally, reframing the situation, really pausing and thought stopping that will hopefully get you out of that spin cycle of anxiety and stress. But these are behavioral techniques and cognitive techniques that you can teach yourself that really do help reduce the negative messages that we tell ourselves that can keep us in anxiety. Plus, there's so many wonderful things that everyone always talks about: meditation, yoga, breathing. We're going to have someone on the show next week that's going to really teach us about breathing and really bringing more oxygen into our body and really helping out our stressed system, our tax system, because we're also in a place of trauma right now. And there's a PTSD. We're also grieving. We're grieving the loss of so much right now, whether it's our lives, finances, our skills, whatever we're doing. We're just really in a place of loss. Our friends. Yeah. Social, our friends. Thank God I have you guys now. This is my big day out.
and I think that's exactly what we were, alluding to at the beginning. Long term, what is this going to do? How long is it going to take to get this back when we lose these chemical receptors, when we have overwhelmed the body with fight or flight day after day after day? I mean, we're seeing it in clinic now. Like, I think we talked way back about how this was going to affect the mental health, just because day after day after day. How long is it going to take to restore that has become a question. I know they're even doing some studies here up at UW. Are these being reintroduced to the body, the serotonin and things, without medication? How long is it going to take to get those stores back?
Exactly. That's a show that we also want to do in a couple of weeks, is what happens when we come out of this lockdown and how to slowly get yourself immersed back into some type of routine. I mean, I know myself right now, whatever this is, week 8, I have some foggy brain. I don't have fatigue. I have an abundance of energy, but I'm kind of having a little bit of foggy brain because I'm not keeping up with my exercise. I'm not feeling myself, and trying to do the best that we can, but not at 100%, which I don't know if I'm ever at 100% anyway. So, but
I think that I agree with Gary that there's going to be a huge need for tools to be in place for especially for the special needs community. We can't just be thrust back into our normal schedules, or it's the behaviors in our children are going to be off the impossible to handle for most parents.
It's similar to when kids are on break from school.
Yeah, definitely.
And then they come back in and they're not used to the routine and everything else. And when we offered the Camp Ed during summer, you kept them on a specific routine, and you really kept them, focused and helped that along.
And God willing, we'll have, a modified version of Camp Ed. But I think the main thing is, that we all just take it day by day. I think whenever like Gary said, whenever there's an uncertainty of when we're going to be over this, or at least we'll never be over this, but whenever we can come to some semblance of normalcy again.
When life will shift.
Absolutely.
We have to work on our behavior because we've been sort of conditioned to wear the sweats all day and just sit on the couch. But also our special needs kids have really been out of structure, and that's going to be really difficult to get them back into something. So.
Okay, Gary, I really want you to relax and have fun and try to do something relaxing today. Even if just get a little drunky or something. We're
so grateful for you.
I wish I drank, but I don't drink, so I would be in trouble.
There's never no time like the present.
Go do some exercise, some serotonin.
Thank you so much, Gary.
So we're good.
And as always, thank you for being here for us, and thank you for everything that you do. And we love you and appreciate you every day.
Love you guys too. Take care.
Bye, Gary.
Okay, so now we're gonna bring in a friend of mine who is an amazing lady, an autism mom. I worked with her for years in Friendship Circle, and Shifra Klein, who started an amazing company that she's going to tell us about, Mitzvah, which I love the name, and I don't know if you can see her logo. Can you see this?
There you go.
She has the greatest logo in the world.
And I know that this product is
see
something that you actually have experience with. So
I do. I have, like, you know, I'm a naturalist, but also I'm very fearful of taking any medication. I worry about side effects, and even the side effect of a natural product concerns me. And so Shifra had told me an amazing story of how one of her products that you take in the morning alleviates anxiety. And I really was afraid to take it. I held off on trying it. And as the first 2 weeks, which I think from a lot of people I've talked to, the first 2 weeks of what we're going through really was the peak anxiety, because we were absolutely unsure of, you know, how do we get this? Can we get it just from breathing air?
right.
It was like a chronic terror state. And
Right.
especially I have somebody in my family who's very immune compromised. I was just terrified, and I wasn't sleeping. My anxiety was through the roof. And so I figured there's no time like now to try this product. And the first couple days was I didn't really see a change, but by day 3, I saw a huge difference. And I've been religiously taking this product every day. And I really believe it's helped my anxiety 60%. So I really am behind it.
Let's bring her on and have her talk about her company and
All
how
right.
she started and what her products are.
Shifra, welcome.
Hi,
Welcome.
everybody. How are you? Good to see everyone. Thanks for the intro.
Yes, and I wanted you to tell us just a little, you know, an edited version of your story and about your journey of why you created this amazing product.
Sure.
And go ahead.
So we started this journey back in 2015. We were looking for a solution for our son who has autism. At the time, he was 10 years old. He had been on a lot of different medications, up to 5 at one time at some points. Wow. We hadn't seen a lot of progress. He had been diagnosed at 2 years old as severely autistic, whatever severely is on their spectrum, nonverbal, not toileting, very self-injurious. And by 10 years old, we needed to kind of expand our minds on where we were going with him. We ventured into the cannabis side of things, but we were very wary, just like you are, with taking medications and not knowing side effects. And at that point in the industry, there was not a lot of regulation. Some areas there still isn't. And we just didn't feel comfortable going into a dispensary and providing him with something that we didn't know really what was in it. So we figured, you know, my grandmother always had a saying, if you want something done right, roll up your sleeves and do it yourself. So we started really educating ourselves, meeting with doctors, calling researchers in Israel and in Spain who were way ahead of the game than the United States. And we started making our own product in our kitchen, actually, for our son, who we saw results right away. And that's just how Mitzvah began. Before we had no pre idea to start a business out of it. It was really just to heal our child. Once other people in the community started seeing how well our son was doing, they were asking us to provide medication for them. And that's how we started seeing that this could be bigger than it really is, and more people need healing. And that's when we started, we were actually the first CBD company in the world to be kosher certified under the Orthodox Union, under the OU, which is very important to us to be able to provide for all communities, that everyone can have access to this. And then we started manufacturing.
That's wonderful.
Wow, fantastic.
And there's so many different products. The Mitzvah, it's not just this wonderful morning product that's more of like an anti-anxiety, but there are so many products. There's a product, and this is just as important, maybe even more so, is there's a night version of the morning version. I still haven't tried that one out.
What is the difference between the morning CBD and the night CBD?
That's a really, really good question. So how Mitzvah works is we make effect-based formulas, meaning that we're trying to give you a certain effect with our ingredients. So not only do we have CBD, there's other parts of the hemp or cannabis plants that are very beneficial. And one of those are called terpenes. Terpenes are natural hydrocarbons that are found in cannabis. They're also found in a lot of plant matter that do provide a certain effect. They can provide a smell of a plant, a taste of a plant, but they also provide an effect. So we are able to manipulate our products using science, using medical journals and studies that prove that these certain terpenes will give you the effect that we're looking for. So our daytime and our nighttime will give you a certain effect based on the terpene blend that's in there. So our nighttime blend has different terpenes in there that do help induce sleep. They're mild natural sedatives like myrcene. Myrcene is found very heavily in a lot of cannabis strains. It's also found heavily in mangoes and in hops. A lot of people that, hops is what you make beer from. A lot of people, they get that couch lock feeling after they drink a beer. It's not necessarily the alcohol content, but really the amount of myrcene that's in those particular hops that are used. So that's how it's all manipulated naturally. There's no added like melatonin, any like synthetic hormones, or we don't put caffeine in our daytime formula. It's all the natural terpenes that really are the star of the show.
Wow, fantastic.
Well, I've tried a lot of natural products, and what really impressed me about this is you saw immediate results. A lot of times you take something and it takes months to even digestive enzymes and some of the other stuff. This product, I really felt within the first week of taking it, a real dramatic difference in my anxiety, in my just my feeling of energy. I felt like it gave me more energy, but it's all natural. There were no side effects, and for me, that's everything. And Shifra, you have given this to your son.
Yeah, so when it comes to especially special needs children, especially nonverbal, I always recommend, we're just the manufacturer. We have a knowledge base, but we're not doctors. We do have doctors on our board, but we always recommend bringing your child to a physician or speaking to your doctor. There are even cannabis doctors. They're all over the place, but we do have some in Los Angeles that we do recommend that we bring our children to. But we've given it to our kids. I have a child also with ADHD who it's been very helpful. We were able to get her off of her Ritalin, and she's just thriving in it. But we also have typical children. I have typical older teenagers that don't need it, and now they do. This is a very different time, and having older children in the house, it's definitely affecting them, and in ways that they're not used to. I have a daughter that's going to be almost 18. And she looked like she was on the verge of a panic attack the other night, just thinking about her future and like not going to school and her, is she going to grade? Is she going to be able to get the awards that she was supposed to get? It's, all of this stuff is building up. And I hadn't realized it because it's not my special needs child. And, sometimes the focus, is there. And I know it helps those children that take it on a daily basis. But now I have these kids that are not sleeping at night that typically sleep at night. So it's been helpful. It's been helpful long-term for us, for our other children, but now I see the need for it. And what's great about these type of products is that you can start and stop. So this is not something that is dependence. There's no there's no overdose issues. There's no THC psychoactivity type things going on. So I'm very comfortable going, you're having a hard time right now. Let's go outside. Let's step outside. Let's breathe for a second, get some fresh air, center ourselves. You can take this tonight, see how you do. And they wake up refreshed in the morning.
I'm really glad to hear you say that with your teenager that was having a little bit of the anxiety, is that as well as any type of like drops or any type of other, if you're talking about the pharmaceutical industry, we also need to do other techniques as well. It's not just, it's combination of many things, support from your family and friends and for your peers.
100%.
breathing, yoga, whatever, or also psychotherapy in conjunction with. And so that's wonderful that you also taught her how to breathe.
Like Shifra said, there's so many medications that if you stop them
could have
abruptly,
side
the side effects are dramatic
yes,
and instantaneous.
Yes.
So Shifra, I'm going to put up the website because I would urge everyone to go on Shifra's website and really just explore, because there's so many products. I have fibromyalgia, which so many special needs moms do. And I've been using their topical cream, which is incredible for pain, chronic pain. But when we reopen, God willing, we'll be selling, Shifra will be selling her products at the center. And I just really believe in this product. And I think that anytime you can go natural, it's better. It's just better.
Yep.
But Shifra, I want to send a big love to you and your family, and stay well. And thank you so much for being a part of our health and wellness. And we're definitely going to bring you back, and we'll talk more next time on more of an autism mom level, because I love that side of you, and you're an amazing autism mommy. And stay safe and stay well.
Lots of blessings, guys. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
And everyone go to mitzvahwellness.com and check Shifra's site out. I just wanted to remind everyone one more time about how important your giving is today on Giving Tuesday now. We cannot give the families. We have so many families who reach out to us and they say, we need counseling, we need help, we need to talk to Chrisa, we need the support, but we just can't afford it. And we want to be able to not turn those parents away. And so with your help, we're able to do that. And I'd like to turn now to a very special guest. This special guest is very special to me and to Chrisa.
Yes.
And to the center. And he happens to be our president, our
CEO.
A real president. A real wonderful president, and very handsome president.
You're biased.
I am.
You're biased.
And a good friend.
And a good friend. Well, I just want to say that it is Giving Tuesday now, and this is a holiday that I think we all wish wasn't a holiday. It's something that was designed specifically in response to the COVID situation, and it's actually, I think, even more important than the other Giving Tuesday, because there are nonprofits right now who are struggling, and we're one of them, to make ends meet because of basically our situation. The fundraising situation for a lot of nonprofits has dried up. And as Navah said, it's extremely important for us to, we rely on public funds. We rely on funds from people like you out there. And for us to be able to continue what we do, we need funds from the public. So on this Giving Tuesday, if you can donate whatever you can, $1, $2, $5, $10, $100.
And we all have links on our Facebook page that you can go to.
We have links. We go to our website,
and
which
our
is
website.
at asnerfamilycenter.org, and donate there. Donate on Facebook. It is much appreciated, and it'll allow us to continue the ability to bring you programming like this and the Zoom classes that we have, and specifically the telehealth sessions that we're able to provide at a low cost. So I thank you for considering us, and I hope that you go to at asnerfamilycenter.org and make a donation. And Navah and Chrisa, I toss it back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, handsome president of ours. So Chrisa, we had a great show today.
We did.
Next week we're
You
gonna
rocked
have.
it.
Thank you. So did you, as always. Next week we're gonna have another show with some more tools on chronic stress, and we're gonna have my good friend John Sahakian is gonna be coming in talking about the 3-minute cure. John is a good friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years. He's a hypnotherapist. He's worked with a lot of our moms in our meditation classes and our mindfulness are mindful moms.
Mhm.
And John is going to come and give you some amazing tools on chronic stress, and
Mhm.
you will love him.
And I can't wait. I think you also talked about breathing techniques,
Yes.
which we all need to learn how to breathe from a deeper place in our body
Yes.
and really help.
Shallow breathing. That's me.
Oh, that's me too. So very excited about
Okay.
next week.
And wait a minute. It's Taco Tuesday,
Taco
and it's
Tuesday. Let's go.
I wanted to say it's Mardi Gras. It's Cinco
Cinco
de
de
Mayo.
Mayo,
So I hope
yes.
you all are being COVID quarantine and
Let's go get some
not
margaritas
driving after
and
your
some
margaritas.
tacos.
And have a wonderful day and have fun and have a margarita on me. Not literally, though. So see you next time, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.